Dave. Moving on to the other UFC 156 matchup, Dan Henderson versus Lyoto Machida. I've heard rumors that it might get pushed to 157 because 156 is shaping out to be such a stacked card. But for the rest of the pod, because we haven't heard anything official, we'll just assume it's going to be at UFC 156. Dan Henderson versus Lyoto Machida. And what likely will be a title eliminator for the winner of John Jones and Chael Sonnen. Man, this is going to be a really great fight. I have Henderson personally. I think Lyoto Machida, he is great. He is an excellent counter striker, has pretty good takedown defense, but he hasn't fought a wrestler like Dan Henderson. Henderson's a stronger wrestler than Rashad Evans. Like Chris mentioned yesterday in our episode of the MMA podcast, comes from that Roman Greco style.
Greco-Roman.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Greco-Roman style. Wait, did I say it again? Fuck it. Moving on. He was a USA Olympian backup, just really, really great fighter, and I see Hendo. I don't know if he's going to be able to land the H-bomb, because like his teammate Anderson Silva, Machida is excellent at not getting hit. But yeah, I see Dan Henderson winning this fight and going on to fight the winner of John Jones versus Chael Sonnen. And either way, there would be a lot of interesting storylines if Henderson fought either guy.
This fight is definitely one that's now is the perfect time for Hendo and Machida to fight each other. It's like the perfect storm coming together. They're both at pretty much the same stage in their career, I'd have to say. They've done it. They've been there for the championships. They're both solid fighters still. This is going to be a fucking fight worth watching, and I don't think anybody can really call it. Machida's got the skill. Hendo's got the power. Machida's got. I think we're going to see 3 rounds. Definitely, it'll probably go to a decision. Because I don't think Machida can knock out Hendo, and I don't think Hendo can land the right hand the way he needs to on Machida. Machida is elusive. He knows what to avoid. There's only one limb to avoid swinging at him. He'll be able to do that for 3 rounds. That's for damn sure. Actually, if they're headlining, they might even have to make it 5 rounds. I don't know. Either way, they're going to go the distance. I just wish. If I could wish one thing for this fight, it's a little. I got really stoned last night, and I was thinking maybe.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm actually I have the pipe in my hand right now as we speak. It's shaking.
Allegedly.
Right. I'll try to. Yeah. But anyway, when I was maybe not high, I had the thought maybe for the future UFCs, what they're going to do is they're going to build the octagon cage. They're going to use lead, and then they're going to flood the octagon with X-rays, okay? So that, when they're punching each other and you see somebody cave in somebody's ribs, when they do the replay, it's going to actually be the X-ray, and you're going to see that shit, just all those ribs break and shit. And if they do that with the Hendo versus Machida fight, you're going to see Machida's hands fucking breaking left and right trying to knock out Dan Henderson, all right? There's no way he has enough power to knock out Henderson. He can knock out a lot of other people. He got Rashad. That was lucky. But Hendo, you ain't knocking him out. Sorry, Karate Kid. That's it. Stoned X-ray fight. I have this fight going the distance, and it's going to be a draw.
And in related news, no other UFC fighter ever has a kid ever again. Sorry, go ahead, Ray.
I think this is going to be a brilliant fight. I mean, it's just 2 of the best guys in obviously in the light heavyweight division. These are the kind of fights that you want to see, and this is the difference between mixed martial arts and boxing. You don't get to see the big fights in boxing. They're so busy feeding the big guys with no-named crap opponents that no one really cares about, and they're so busy ducking each other. But with MMA, you get to see the best versus the best, and this is a prime example of that. You've got the power of Dan Henderson, and obviously we know what Henderson's going to do. He's looking for that big punch all the time. We saw what he did to Shogun, for the first few rounds, and he caught Shogun with some big shots. Then you've got Machida, who's elusive, who's looking for strikes. We can throw punches, he can throw kicks. He's very hard to take down because he's got great counter wrestling. But it seems to me that the more difficult the opponent Machida faces, the more likely he is of getting a stoppage. I mean, I remember when Machida first joined the UFC, and I saw him fight live in the UK, and when he was fighting the lesser known guys, like the Sam Hoger and David Heath, he was winning by decision, and he wasn't not only was he not just winning by decision, but he wasn't looking good winning. And then he steps up in competition and he faces the likes of Thiago Silva and Rashad Evans, and he's getting the knockouts. And then obviously, of course, we had that crazy kick against Randy Couture, and he gets another. It just seems that the tougher the opponent, the more impressive he wins. So I'm thinking we're going to get to see Machida is going to knock Dan Henderson out, and I'm going to call a front kick. We're going to see another front kick from Machida.
Ooh, strong prediction. Dig it, Ray. Dig it. That is a very strong prediction. Man, these guys are fantastic. Hendo has had one of the most brilliant career resurgences of all time. I mean, to win a championship after a dominating loss to a guy who's not doing well in Jake Shields, to go from that to knocking out Babalu, dominating Rafael Cavalcante, knocking out Fedor, one of the greatest of all times, and then a fight of the decade against Shogun. I have a lot of respect for that man. What a fantastic fighter. And then we have Machida, who, don't really need to say much, has looked kind of flat lately at certain points against Rampage. He did knock out Couture, but he put it all together in knocking out Ryan Bader in not only impressive fashion, but he caught Bader, and then as Bader was falling, he caught him with a second shot to the jaw, which put him out. So not only did he hit him with a hard shot, but then on the way down knocked him out. That's super impressive. As far as how they stack up, it's a really tough call. You guys brought up some excellent points. Dan Henderson has the H-Bond. He has that Greco-Roman wrestling. He's fought some of the best in the world. I just think that this is a stylistic nightmare for Dan Henderson. I think that all of his tank, characteristics where he just pressures and gets in your face and uses that clinch game, it's not going to work against Machida, man. He's a judo black belt. He's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, a Shotokan karate black belt, and has fought some of the best in the game himself. And I think that Machida is too young, too fast, and too smart. I've got Machida winning by an impressive finish. I can't call it like Ray did, some crazy snap kick or jumping kick, front kick, but I do have a feeling that he will finish Dan Henderson most likely by a KO or TKO. I don't really see him submitting him, so that's my call.
Wow. This is a fight. These are two of my favorite fighters. And they pretty much always have been ever since I've been watching mixed martial arts, and especially ever since I was introduced to Lyoto Machida. And actually, now that I think about it, Lyoto Machida knocked Rich Franklin out really savagely. I don't know why that just popped in my head. I could just see the image of that head kick knockout he had over Rich Franklin, and I'm really hoping something similar doesn't happen to Dan Henderson. He's easily, I think if Dan Henderson were to win this fight, he really makes a strong shot for the greatest of all time nominations. I mean, Pride middleweight champion, Pride light heavyweight champion. He knocked Fedor Emelianenko clean out. No one has ever done that. I think even, Fedor's loss against Verdum, you could say, he rushed in, he got sloppy. A lot of fans were kind of willing to overlook the fight. The Bigfoot Silva fight, you could say, well, that was a doctor stoppage. Fedor wanted to continue. Who knows how that would have turned out in round 3. Fedor could have easily came out and knocked him out. There's no disputing his loss to Dan Henderson, though. Hendo just put him out. He had him slumped and stumped and chumped, and it was just a beautiful thing to witness. But like it's been alluded to, this is just a horrific style nightmare for Dan Henderson with Lyoto Machida. Dan Henderson's going to need to work the counter himself. He's going to have to go in. He's going to have to put himself in harm's way. He's going to have to use his standard going forward in stalking style, and he's going to have to catch Machida missing, and that is going to be hard as fuck. Shogun's the only person we've seen catch him like that. He does have a decision loss to Rampage, which has kind of been an issue of debate. as to whether he really should have lost in that fight. God damn, I would not. If I had to bet money, I would put it on Machida. As sad as that makes me in my heart, fuck. But Dan Henderson, he is my boy. I can't pick against him. So pure fanboy pick, picking Dan Henderson to get the knockout.
True. So it looks like we got 2 for Machida and 3